I'm Ken Fenyo, President of Research and Advisory at Coresight Research. Thank you very much for joining us today to talk about a new shopping festival we are launching this October called 1010. As part of our mission to create retail communities and enhance the retail ecosystem, Coresight is launching the 1010 Shopping Festival with retail, philanthropy, and tech partners. This festival is designed to reacquaint shoppers with the joys of shopping, gifting, and giving back. 1010 will take place this October 9th to 11th. Shopping festivals have become synonymous with significant sales volumes and growth. For example, Alibaba's single day on 11/11 last year generated $38.4 billion in GMV. JD.com 618, which ran from June 1st to 18th of this year, also generated around $38 billion in GMV, and Prime Day in the US last year generated $6 billion in GMV. We believe 1010 will be the next major shopping festival. It's going to be for the benefit of US retailers, and it's designed to engage consumers and bring them back into brick and mortar stores safely. It's designed to pull holiday demand earlier in the season and eliminate stresses we're seeing on the supply chain. It will help merchants better compete with e-commerce, and particularly Amazon, which is moving Prime Day to October this year. And lastly, it will enhance brand recognition. We are excited to partner on 1010 with Shopkick and Fashwire, who we'll hear from a bit later. Shopkick, a Trax Company, is a shopping app that offers users rewards for shopping activities both online and in stores, such as walking into stores, scanning items, making in-app or in-store purchases, and submitting receipts. Shopkick has a multi-year record of generating retail foot traffic equal to Black Friday. Also here today is our partner, Fashwire. Fashwire is a global platform for the contemporary fashion industry, connecting over 300 brands from more than 30 countries directly to consumers. Fashwire improves fashion discovery and awareness by using AI to personalize the customer experience based on known preferences. Today on our panel, we have Deborah Weinswig, CEO and founder, and Marie Driscoll, Managing Director of Luxury and Fashion at Coresight, along with David Fisch, CEO, and Lars Djuvik, AVP of Retail at Shopkick, and Shay Gipson, Strategic Partnerships at Fashwire. Thank you to everyone for joining us. Now, without further ado, let's kick off with a question for Deborah. Deborah, tell us about the genesis of the 1010 Festival. Why did you create it, and what were you trying to achieve?
I think if we step back, and certainly as you talked about, some of what we've learned from other markets is if we all kind of pull together, that we can create outsized sales, returns, and things we never dreamed of. This is definitely a year for us to think about all pulling together to help retailers and brands, kind of think about how to sell product in new ways and how to have maybe uncommon partnerships when you think about, Fashwire and Shopkick and Coresight on the phone here today, right? I mean, we've, the three teams have never kind of all spoken together. And so there's this idea that if we kind of focused on a date and a weekend, and I want to say, Shopkick was amazing. They moved an entire shopper appreciation weekend to, kind of make this happen. And, this idea that if we also incent the consumer, right, to purchase and, with Shopkick, give them double kicks, with Fashwire, help them kind of from a discovery process. And then there's an aspect of giving back, right? The consumer can make the decision, right? Do they want to, kind of give back to a charity of their choice through the platforms? That there's a whole way that we can, even in some ways reconceptualize gifting, right? I'm giving in both ways, right? I'm giving to somebody I love, I care about. I'm also giving to a philanthropy to help others. And bringing that all together, I think is where the magic happens. This year, we're just getting started. And if we look at the experience of other, kind of shopping festivals, and, we've had the Flipkart with Big Billion, which was, fairly, very much in its infancy, and just the impact that it had on the market. And I think we're looking to be a guiding light here and to all come together to do that.
That's great. Can you tell us a little bit of why 1010? Why October 10th?
Well, that's actually really critical, and I think Marie will also talk to some of that. We had a very large retailer come to Coresight back in June, and they were talking about their concerns around this kind of, if we want to call it like November 15th to December 25th. And because of the significant volume that will be going through e-commerce, or even, right, the consumer buying online, picking up in store, pickup, curbside, just this ability to handle that volume, could we, like Coresight, think about a way to pull the shopping season forward? And, kind of with that task, that was June. And, once again, working with Shopkick and Fashwire to kind of pull this off and work together, we were able to, kind of conceptualize how we might pull that forward into 10/10. And then, maybe there's an opportunity, right, which with product that didn't get sold through the holidays at a margin that consumers, were willing to pay, or that retailers desired, is there an opportunity to kind of come back and think about something in January, right? Just thinking about how to elongate the season, how to make sure that that product is delivered when the consumer wants to give it and to get it. And for any consumers that happen to be joining us today, one thing to really think about is do shop early. I mean, yes, I would love for you to shop on 10/10 and the Shopper Appreciation Weekend. That would be phenomenal. But just in order for product to arrive on time, with the capacity constraints we're already seeing, right? Many of these shippers are already, kind of behind, and it's just because of the volume. So I think there's an opportunity for all of us work together to have, presents under the tree, to be able to, kind of surprise and delight those whom we care about, but we have to start early.
Great. Marie, I know you've been doing a lot of research into this upcoming holiday season. Can you give us just a sense of what you see happening, and certainly what impact COVID-19 is going to have on the holidays?
Sure. So it's like one of the silver linings of COVID could be the creation of 10/10 Shopping Festival. Certainly COVID has impacted the way the consumer shops. There's more online shopping. There's been a move to more essential products versus discretionary products. But over the course of the last few months, we've seen that change. Coresight has been surveying consumers since March on a weekly basis, and we've tracked where consumers are shopping, what they're interested in, their comfortability with going to shopping places. I mean, there's still consumers as of Monday, 55% of them were still uncomfortable going to shopping centers, and about 80% of them are not comfortable in public places. So consumers are concerned this year. And when you think about that and the way we typically shop for holiday, with the big explosion post-Thanksgiving on Black Friday, and along with what Deborah said about the supply chain and the product not being there, we have to move this forward. And Deborah's been talking about shopping holidays for years. They create excitement, the consumers involved, and they bring back the magic and the fun of shopping. And this year it can do that, as well as really smooth out the supply chain, get product where it wants to be on time, at the right time. I mean, when we just fielded a survey for holiday shopping, we haven't published this yet, but according to the consumers we spoke with, about 30% expect to start shopping early. That compares with earlier than they did last year. That compares with about 10% that are going to shop later. And when we ask them why, 57% want to avoid public places. 34% are concerned about product availability, and 48% are worried about online shipments not getting to the gift receiver on time. So I think they've been reading Coresight's research. They're definitely attuned to what we've been saying and what we're saying here. And so we think really this is such a special time to take advantage of some of the negative things around COVID and move the holiday earlier, bring back the excitement, and help retailers have a good season this year, and consumers.
Great, thank you. Deborah, maybe before we turn to our guests from Shopkick and Fashwire, maybe you just tell a bit, like, how is the 10/10 event going to work? What do retailers and brands get for participating?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and that's why it's great to have Shopkick and Fashwire as partners, right? Shopkick to work with the larger brands and retailers, and Fashwire is working with many of the younger designers who are gaining traction very quickly in this environment. And the idea is that they're getting greater rewards for the Shopper Appreciation Weekend through Shopkick. And then they also, what to us, and Marie spoke about it, this idea of if they so choose, right, they can give back to a charity of their choice. And, they're also, the idea is too, for many of the retailers whom all of us have been speaking to, they will offer special discounts. There'll be a gamification element, and this idea that there'll be great deals. But I would say the added benefit is that, well, they're able to get the product, which is probably the most important ultimately, based on what we think will be the outlook for the supply chain this year. They will be able to hopefully buy it at an excellent price. And then thirdly, once again, if they so choose, they can, give their rewards back to charity. And Dave and Lars will talk more through that, or they can, kind of give themselves a gift, right? I mean, there's no harm in that. And so I think there's many different ways that, everyone can participate, even if it's just, kind of using the 1010 logo and moving forward with that, because the idea is to, kind of really make this about, the retailers and brands and ultimately the consumer winning.
That's great. I'd like to actually turn it over to Dave now. Dave, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. Maybe can you just start maybe for a minute just talking a little bit more about how Shopkick works?
Yeah, happy to. And pleasure and honor to be a part of this panel and part of 1010. Really, at the core, Shopkick's value proposition is to engage consumers and drive them to take action. And we do this really through a full funnel approach. Everything at the top of the funnel, ways for our consumers to actually engage with content through video, through something that we call lookbooks, all the way through our ability to actually drive traffic in store and validate that a user has walked into a store or any retail establishment. On top of that, being able to drive a user into an individual shelf and engage with an individual product off of that shelf through scanning that product, then ultimately driving that consumer into a purchase and validating that purchase through a photo of a receipt or other means. So really, when you take a look at Shopkick and the value proposition, we really think about our business in three different kind of channels. One, we have the consumer, and the consumer obviously wants to be rewarded and delighted. I heard that phrase earlier, Deborah. That was great. And that's really the core of Shopkick is we're able to engage a user. We're able to incentivize them to take action in store or actually, at home as they're researching a product potentially. And we reward them through our own currency, which we call kicks. And that's kind of one set of customers that we look at. Another set are the individual brands. And the brands are looking to actually move product. The brands are actually looking to communicate with the user on whether or not it's a new product release or different ways to promote discovery. And we're able to engage with our brand partners and able to actually communicate those marketing messages to our user base. On the retail side of it, retailers are looking for us to help drive foot traffic in store. And in store, they're also looking to us to help navigate an audience throughout that shopping experience. And Shopkick really is able to touch all three of those kind of key value propositions or those key business needs throughout our kind of consumer journey.
That's fantastic. Maybe I just ask you, maybe as a follow-up, can you just tell us a bit why you were excited about getting involved in the 1010 Festival?
Yeah, well, so many different reasons actually. But really something that has really come out of COVID, and I heard Marie mention this earlier, there is a lot of good that's coming out. And one of the things that we've found with our consumers and with our customers is that everybody is desperate for information. And whether or not it's on our user base, they're interested in learning, are stores open? Is there a stock on shelves? What are the safety precautions that are going into the shopping experience? And again, are products going to be available when I get there? On the retail side of it, they're also looking for information. You know, what are the new patterns of shopping behavior? What are our customers looking for in terms of safety precautions, or in terms of what their, you know, what the new shopping behavior is going to look, act, and feel like. So one of the, I think, key benefits of us being involved is we're able to actually be a conduit of that information and to be able to communicate with our user base all of the benefits of 1010 and all of the benefits of, you know, shopping early, being in store early, and being able to communicate for our brand and our retail partners the things that are important to our users, which is, again, what are the safety precautions? Are stores open? Are shelves going to be full? So I see us as a nice bridge of information and kind of a hub of the wheel to some degree.
No, that's fantastic. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, Lars, maybe I want to turn to you for a minute. And I know that you've run shopper appreciation events in the past through the Shopkick platform. It'd be great to maybe hear a bit how those have worked and then what results you've seen.
Sure. Well, again, just to echo what David said, thank you to Coresight and Fashwire and all the partners. I think one of the first things that struck me when I came to Shopkick was this concept that it's an and world, not an or world, meaning the power of the alliance that Shopkick has built really since 2010 is probably most evident in what we historically called Blue Friday, which is our company's color, but now calling Shopper Appreciation Weekend. And so for about 9 years now, Shopkick and the retail and brand partners, if they so choose, but we had most of them opt in, they really increased their kicks over the day or the weekends where we've run these events before. And it really just does leverage the power of the alliance. Shopkick by design is a multi-earn, multi-burn platform, meaning our shoppers, which is really the most important part, they can earn wherever they go, and then they can turn those kicks into whatever gift card or whatever charity that they so choose. And so for these weekends, it really did start testing the model of Shopkick. Could we basically drive the same amount of traffic, but without, you know, having to do the fire sales and BOGOs and everything else? Could we drive that same amount of traffic, let's say on a random Friday, that we would on Black Friday, but do it, you know, in the middle of June, do it in early October? And so that's where the Blue Fridays and Shopper Appreciation Weekend were born, really to test this theory. If the alliance, if all the partners give more kicks, could we drive the shoppers, again, as Dave said, safely out to stores, and everyone wins. The shoppers are rewarded with safe shopping information, great stores, great brands, information near them, obviously earning those kicks for taking those actions and making a purchase. But then the retailers and the brands get a ton of net new shoppers, incremental sales, and really can kind of activate on these key weekends without having to be dependent, again, on Black Friday. This year, it's more important than ever. You know, we're already talking about the shopping holiday being moved up, but with so many unknowns about Black Friday and so many retailers, especially the ones that had to shut down, you know, during COVID, the non-essential, they just can't depend on Black Friday this year. And so we're moving it up. We're leveraging the power of the alliance, running this October 9th, 10th, and 11th. And as I mentioned, everyone should win: the shoppers, the retailers, the brands, and all of the great partners, Coresight, St. Jude, and some of the others that are taking part.
Awesome, thank you. Let me turn to Shay now. Shay, thanks for joining us. Could you tell us a little bit about Fashwire?
Yes, Fashwire is a shopping destination platform. We feature over 250 global emerging designers. It gives our consumer the opportunity to shop globally and help build these emerging designers and be able to discover new items. We have a swiping technology that helps the consumer track what they like, have a gifting program with COVID. We've partnered with Retailers United. We're raising funds for every download. So our platform really gives the opportunity for customers to not only give back, but also discover and help emerging designers.
Oh, that's amazing. Can you maybe spend a minute and tell us how brands that are on your platform can participate in 1010?
Yeah, absolutely. We are very excited to continue our partnership with Coresight and be joining the 1010 Festival. We will be enabling our designers to join it by featuring areas within our shopping app that will highlight 1010 designers, as well as be able to feature how they can give back, not only through Fash Give, but other opportunities through our partners with Coresight. So it will be marketed. We will support those efforts with our designers and help them get the word out to not only to their followers, but how to download the app and shop globally.
Well, that's fantastic. I think we have one more, about a minute before we're going to turn it over to Q&A, and maybe I'll turn back to Deborah. Deborah, this event this year at least came together quickly. Where do you see 1010 going in the future?
I think we all have big aspirations, but, if we, kind of on October 12th, if, kind of Fashwire and Shopkick and St. Jude's and others who, participated, if we put our heads together and map out the next 12 months, and ultimately, like Dave and Lars and Shay alluded to, this idea of, kind of the retailers and brands at the forefront and how they win. We've had so many inbounds, and I know that everyone on this call has, right? How can we kind of get out in front of people? How do we think about using live streaming? What should we do from a marketing perspective? But if this kind of, as Lars referred to it, as this alliance, this partnership, if we can help some of these retailers and brands and be a destination to, really understand the opportunity to serve up, customized and gamified content that will ultimately lead to a greater ROI, I think that all of us win.
Fantastic. Well, why don't we turn it over to some questions from the audience. I'm seeing one here that's around whether you think that this holiday shopping is going to be discount driven. I don't know, Marie, maybe I'll ask you, and then I'd be curious to hear from our friends at Shopkick. I know they have a different model than the discount. I'd be curious to hear a bit what their thoughts on that.
Thanks, Ken. The consumer cares about discounts. I don't think it's top of mind. I think top of mind this year is safety, getting the product and getting the product on time. And so while there's always a value component to the way consumers shop, I think this year there's many more factors that are concerning the consumer, and really safety is so top of mind. I mean, if we just look at what's happened with Halloween and how it's on again, off again, on again, off again, and you think about parents and families and how they're concerned about their kids going out. I mean, safety is more important than we've ever seen it before. So I think while people like a good bargain, companies and retailers and brands have products that they believe in. If they price it sharply, we think they always like a good value, but that's not what's going to drive business this year, I don't think. Deborah, what do you?
So what we've heard from talking to retailers is, once again, there are some concerns over, and we do know many retailers who are scrambling for inventory. So, this idea, kind of stack it high and watch it fly. I don't think that will be this holiday season. What we've also heard from some retailers, right, who are a bit inventory constrained right now, is they have found that their customers have said that they enjoy being in a store where it's easier to kind of browse, to interact, to discover, right? The whole idea around why so many of us go to a physical store is this whole discovery process. But I think that what you brought up around Halloween is really telltale, and many retailers and brands have brought this up, which is the kind of on again, off again. And as they think about kind of moving through the holiday season, they want to be able, what we're hearing actually, what's interesting, if I were to say a change, is this idea of more bundles, right? Making things a bit more specific, interesting to the consumer, and serving that up, as opposed to making it kind of a discount driven, kind of season. And then this idea, right, if we start earlier and end later, that retailers won't necessarily need to participate in these heavy, kind of discounts of old. It's more about the, kind of what do you have that I hadn't considered? How are you messaging it? And I think there's this fun aspect that we're going to put back into the holiday season in terms of shopping, giving back, the philanthropy aspect, and just this idea of partnerships and alliance. So everything we've heard, there's a lot of enthusiasm, but the how to, which is, I think, a lot of the reason 1010 came together, the how to get there, there is still a roadmap that's being drawn right now.
Great. David or Lars, do you want to talk a little bit? I know your platform is definitely the undiscount driven platform, but it'd be great to hear maybe just a moment of how you're seeing the holiday play out in terms of promotional strategies from your partners.
Lars, do you want to lead off? Then
I can start. I think, by design, Shopkick, when we came about in 2010, we saw a real need in the marketplace to drive action along the entire shopper journey, literally from couch, driveway, lease line to checkout, without a coupon. In the early 2000s, I kind of think everybody was focused on online, as they should have, right? It was the new 10% of the audience. And by and large, many retailers kind of kept opening stores, kept, using sales and discounts as the driver and thought everything would be fine. But what we saw is when it changed from sales and coupons from being sporadic to an always on strategy, it really did affect and change the muscle memory of shoppers, that it just didn't have the impact, right? It was no longer important. There wasn't a Labor Day sale or a holiday. It was just an always on mechanism. So Shopkick, literally launched with the theory, what if we could replace, the 30% off sale with 30 cents in kicks, which is our currency, and still achieve the same results, which is net new foot traffic, better engagement, smarter dwell time in store, and then obviously incremental sales. And so I think the growth of our company and the shoppers that are responding to the kicks, the gamification along the entire journey, and not just a coupon at the checkout, it's really encouraging. And it's actually very exciting for our retail and brand partners. And so for this holiday season, I think we'll have to see. I think, price is always is very important to the shopper, but with the kicks currency, and especially over this, the shopper appreciation 10/10 weekend, we're gonna get people out there without having to layer on those additional coupons and discounts. They can certainly do so, but our shoppers have shown that they take action in the physical world through these kicks, and then hopefully they can turn them into to charity or to gift cards and reinvest that back into the market as well.
That's great. We have a few more minutes here. Shay, maybe I'll turn a quick question to you. And do you see this holiday season? Do you think people are going to be focusing on buying gifts for others, gifts for themselves? What do you think? What are you seeing?
I don't know about you guys, but when I'm shopping for others, I tend to buy things for myself. So I won't count that out as an option. But I do think people are really excited to interact with their families again. And I think the holiday season obviously is the epitome for family engagement. So they're going to be very excited about giving something unique, and hopefully they come to Fashwire and shop globally and get unique products. But I think we'll always see people picking up little things for themselves. So I think it's going to be a two-way shopping street there.
That's great. We have just a minute or two, and we're getting a lot of questions around who's participating, which retailers are participating, and maybe how retailers who are interested can participate. Deborah, do you want to maybe speak for a minute on that?
Yeah, I'll start, and then probably all of us should chime in. We've seen interest from a very broad array of retailers, anyone from the very large retailers to the very small, and throughout and essential and non-essential, and that I think is what's very interesting and exciting. In terms of how to participate, I mean, any of us here today can assist. I think that it's just a matter of getting started, right? Kind of using the logo, working with Dave and his team, Shay and her team, and at a very minimum, trying to think about kind of what it might look like from a how to give back. And I think that is incredibly important right now to the consumer, more so. And we're hearing this kind of, and charities are really struggling. So we've heard this from many, that they retailers have wanted to figure out kind of the philanthropic approach this holiday season. This is kind of a, all in one, if you will, in terms of one stop. But any of us on this, kind of call today can assist. We all have a lot of material in terms of better, kind of explaining it and all the nits and gnats. But hopefully we have great participation kind of across the retail ecosystem.
Looks like we are up at the time, and I want to thank everyone very much, all of our panelists and everyone who tuned in today. It's been a great conversation. If you have any questions regarding the 1010 Festival, please reach out directly to Anna Beller. She's at annabeller@coresight.com. I think we're going to put up her contact information in just a second, and really appreciate everyone's time today. Look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you.